the ones I lost, connecting lines of which we cross.
Good afternoon, guys. So thank you guys for joining me. It is a privilege to be able to make videos like this for you guys, but thank you. We're up to 800 subscribers, so I appreciate each and every one of you guys for that kind of stuff. But now that we're at 800 subs, I started this whole thing just doing it for fun, and I never expected 800 people to be even semi-interested in the things that I was going to record. So that being said, I need some help from you guys. So this video today, we're just going to sit here and chat a little bit, I guess. This will probably be one of the last vlogs that I do here from this house. So I'm in the process of actually selling this house. Shout out to Josh and his family, the wonderful people buying our home from us. It's a great house. You guys have seen the garage. I love that garage. I'm really gonna miss that garage, especially doing the things that I do. It kind of made sense to have a garage like that here, and that's one of the reasons I bought this place back years ago. But so we found a new house. One of the things I've always wanted in life was to have some land, have a big area for myself and my family and stuff like that. And where I'm at now doesn't really have land. I mean, we have a lot here. We have a yard, which it's a wonderful yard. It's a nice yard. It's a big yard. But I wanted some more. So we found a place with 6 acres, big house. It's actually not far from here, which is nice, so I'm not moving too far. But that being said, I've been super busy lately getting ready to move. I've been packing stuff up. My office is half torn up in here. I mean, I've got stuff off the walls, things spread out all over the floor. Just getting ready to move. So I haven't been able to record any videos. But I definitely do need your guys' help with some ideas. I've got a list of ideas here on my phone of things that I want to do here on the channel, and I'm not the best at coming up with these things. I think I've asked this before, but yeah, today won't be a real cool vlog for things. I'll show you one of the things I've been working on. But yeah, I mean, give me your ideas. I want to hear some stuff. I mean, for the most part, this channel is mostly about equipment that I use in the mobile DJing industry. Some of the events that we do, how we do events. Everybody has their own way of doing things. There's no right way or wrong way. You'll have these mobile DJs on YouTube here that, this is the only way you should do stuff. This is the way you need to do this, and this is the best way. That's not always true. I mean, everybody has their own way of doing things, and some ways are better than others in a lot of cases. But there's no right or wrong way for a lot of this stuff. So, I mean, I guess I'll pass along what works for me and how we've been able to build a business like this so far. As you guys know, this isn't my full-time thing. This is just my evening and weekend gig. So I've still been able to build it up and still have time for my family and all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, I mean, the things that I want to try to cover that are on my list, I want to talk about subwoofer replacement. That's a big thing. I see a lot of events we roll up to, and the subwoofers for events are placed where it's convenient for the DJ to put stuff, not necessarily where it's better for the sound for the room and stuff like that. There's a lot of science and engineering that goes behind proper sub placement and things like that, and once again, it's one of those situations where there isn't a perfectly correct answer for every situation. You have some instances where you want to put subs in a place that look better. You have to put subs in a place that look better. You don't have an option to put them where they belong, because of logistics, because of space, because of people, things like that. But I do want to talk about it. We've been doing this a while. We've learned a lot of tips and tricks and things like that over the years. We've learned that some ways, will provide you with a better result in certain instances. You have a square room, putting them on either side of a dance floor may or may not be better. You may have the bass concentrated on the dance floor, but a lot of cancellation elsewhere, which is sometimes a very desirable thing. You don't want to be blowing out Granny who's back there trying to eat while everybody else are dancing. You want the bass to be concentrated there. You want the bass to be where the people are. If you're trying to cover a big hall, it's a whole different story, you know. You don't want cancellation out along the edges and stuff like that, because you want that's where all your people are, you know. So there's a lot of things. Subwoofer replacement's one of them. I want to do a tour of the trailer. We have so much crap. I'm not gonna say crap. We have a lot of stuff, from lights to trussing to stands to subwoofers to main speakers, things like that. You know, a little better of the equipment that we use on a regular basis. Let's see what else. Power. You know, I mean, I just did a video on our power distro, and we'll talk about that here in just 1 second on this unit here about powering everything, like, you know, how we should power things at our events, regarding things like ground loops and hum and noise and things like that. How do we prevent that? Gain staging comes into that as well. Things like that we can talk about. I also want to talk about a kind of controversial topic in the realm of mobile DJing, and that's pricing. Pricing's a tough one because everybody has their own way of justifying pricing in one way, shape, or form. You know, we have our way, and I don't mind sharing our pricing. I mean, our pricing is not a proprietary thing specifically. People typically don't choose our company because of our price. Now, people will not choose us because of our price sometimes, but for the most part, people don't choose us because we're the cheapest, because we're not. But we're also not the most expensive in a lot of realms, and the way we handle our pricing is a little bit different than everywhere else. You know, we try to have a specific way to do it. So I want to talk about that. I don't know how long I want to make this vlog. I'm already like 7 minutes in here. But you know, these are the kind of things that I want to talk about with people on YouTube, with you guys who actually are watching this. I don't know who's going to even watch this one because it's not about a specific product or anything like that. I just want to talk about the channel a little bit. You know, we're at 800 subscribers. That's nothing fancy. I mean, that's nothing in the world of YouTube. But that's 800 people who took the time to click the subscribe button to possibly see what else we might have coming up and going on. It could be helpful to them in their industry. A lot of people who watch the vlogs are not necessarily DJs, but they're people who might be interested in DJing, or they're people who are interested in live sound and lighting and things like that, or people who just, you know, are involved with the church and are interested in the equipment aspect of things. So I want to try to cater to everybody that we can with this channel. So, like I said, if you guys have ideas, please leave them in the comments. I'm always open for ideas. You know, I don't have all the equipment in the world. I have some stuff, but you know, your ideas can still help me. Like if you, hey, I'd really like to know a little bit about, you know, this using a condenser mic in a live environment or something like that. You know, I've got a bluegrass show coming up, and I'm going to need condensers. How do I handle feedback? You know, how do I set up sound for a ceremony? You know, everybody does things a little bit differently, and there are some better ways than others. There's some ways that take more time, but you know, have a better return, and you know, in the realm of what, you know, things sound like. So, anyway, that's what this vlog's about. That's what this video is about. So, if you have input, please leave it below in the comments. I'd love to hear it because I'd like to know what you guys want and how I can make this better for all of you guys. I don't do this for money, for anything like that. I do it because I enjoy making videos. I enjoy talking to a camera or whatever it may be to people. But I also enjoy seeing people comment on videos and saying, hey, you know, this really helped me. You know, I appreciate you taking the time to talk about this or to do something like that. So I've also thought about having little vlog sessions, or kind of bring someone else in and sit here and talk about stuff like pricing for DJs, equipment for DJs, you know, equipment for live sound when you are a DJ. You know, a lot of DJs will end up doing live sound stuff over the years. I mean, you know, I've started out as just a mobile DJ doing school dances and weddings, and morphed into doing bigger live things, you know, sound for bands, for concerts, things like that. And that's not something that comes naturally from the skill set that you gain working as a mobile DJ. You know, the skills that are needed for live sound are completely different, in a lot of cases. But I see a lot of instances of mobile DJs doing live sound because we have some of the equipment usually necessary. So that'll be a vlog, I think, in its own, talking about live sound. You know, how a mobile DJ can get into live sound. I mean, we have some of the equipment. You know, we have PA speakers, we have microphones, things like that. But what does it take to actually do that job effectively? Do that and learn that craft, because it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different story. So I hope that someone here finds this informative. I hope that you guys will give me some input on what you guys want to hear, and what you want to see with these videos. But I mean, that's pretty much it. That'll be, for the most part, this vlog. I'll talk about my little project here real quick. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate all of your subscriptions. I appreciate you guys supporting me and giving me positive feedback on a lot of the things, a lot of videos I've done and stuff like that. I'm not the most charismatic in front of a camera and things like that. That's not what I do. Half the gigs that I do anymore, I don't have time to even film anything. You know, I have people working for me, working, you know, for us in general, and I gotta coordinate the events. I gotta be talking to people. I just don't really have time to film. So I'm gonna try to film more. I have a wedding coming up this weekend that I might try to film. I'm gonna try to set aside some time to film it. But I mean, most of my weddings are the same, so I don't really want to like put like 8 wedding vlogs, you know. But anyway, thank you. Let's talk about this now. All right, so as you can see here, sorry about the mess of my desk. Like I said, I am moving, so I've got stuff kind of everywhere. This is a Rotomold rack here, and I will actually pick it up here and kind of spin it around and let you see a little bit of it. I had to work on it this past week. I had an issue. I have on the, let me just tell you what it is first. On the front of this thing, this is one of my racks that I carry around at usually at all of my weddings, and of course live events as well, where I need to keep things kind of compact. On this, I'll take you in here. You guys might have actually seen this before. Lowering the tripod, sorry if that was loud. So in this, I just have a blank rack filler panel here. I have my DBX Drive Rack PX, and then I have a Behringer NU 6000. And so this rack is primarily for situations where I need to sorry. It's a rack where if I need to roll into a venue, and I use it mostly for weddings where I'm using powered main speakers. I don't have powered subs right now. Alec has a couple of ETX powered subs, which are awesome, but I don't have them. I have the LS's, the Carbon LS's you guys have seen. Those are passive subs, so I have to run them with something. So instead of hauling around like an amp rack, a rolling amp rack with a bunch of amps in it that I don't really need, this was my solution to some of that. So in this, I have the Drive Rack PX and this amplifier. That's it, nothing else. So how this is wired up, and I can kind of show you a little bit more on the back, but I have 2 inputs on the back, which come from my mixer. Most of the time it's my X1800 from Denon, but it can be my XR12 or whatever mixer I'm running. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, the output of that will go to the 2 inputs on the back, and then those head to the processor here, the Drive Rack PX. This Drive Rack PX has a left-right input, it has a left-right main output, and a left-right sub output. So it doesn't have like multiple zones or, you know, multiple outputs like the Drive Rack PA2 does. The Drive Rack PA2 has, you know, obviously it has the full 6 outputs and stuff like that. This doesn't have that. This just has a real basic input-output section, but it does allow me to do active crossovers and things like that. In addition to the active crossovers, it also has some compression and limiting if I want to enable that on any of the outputs, which I currently have enabled for the sub output. I think I've talked about that before. We also have parametric EQ and stuff like that for your outputs. Subharmonic synthesis, I don't use that. Auto feedback suppression, things like that. It has, it does have the RTA input as well that I can use to sweep a room. I have a video about that on the PA2. But yeah, it's a real basic one, and for like the most part, I leave it alone. I don't mess with the settings on it, because I'm running ZLXs if I'm using this, so I know where the crossover point needs to be. It's stored as a preset, and it loads it when I plug it in, so I don't have to like load it every time. So I hook my powered speakers up to it. It has this crossover set for where I like the LSs. It has the limiter set to where I can protect my LSs, because this amp has more power than my subs can handle. So yeah, that's pretty much the purpose of this. And so on the back, that's what the back's what kind of makes it a little bit special to me. So let's flip around to that. So here we go. One of the things that I was really concerned with, and one of the things that I really wanted to do, was to streamline my setups and stuff like that. I'm not the kind of DJ that comes into a venue and sets up exactly the same thing every time. I set up speakers in different places for what's best for the crowd and the venue and stuff like that. So I don't have like a situation where I have a single combo IEC and XLR cord that go to my speakers on both sides, the table or whatever. I don't have that, because I don't place things in a set order every time. I place things where it's best for the venue. So I still wanted to make this modular enough that I could still do that. But at the same time, if I do have a setup where I need to be, speaker on either side of the table, sub underneath, I don't have to be reconfiguring a bunch of stuff inside of a rack or, something like that to make it happen. So just to go over each of the pieces of this on this side, which would be probably your left, I have my left-right input. A wonderful silver Sharpie there doing the job. This is what comes from my mixer, my X1800 or whatever, or your controller or whatever you have. These next two are NL4 speak-on jacks, and that's actually what I just replaced. I had speak-on NL2s in there, which are fine because I'm only using the first two anyway, but I have a lot of cables that you can buy from Amazon and other places. They use the NL4 connector, and this is a keyed NL2, so you cannot use an NL4 speak-on connector on this socket. You have to use an NL2, which, I have some NL2s, but I also have some NL4s, and even though those NL4s are only wired for the first two pins, you still have to be able to plug those into an NL4 socket. So that's what these are. These are two NL4s, but only the first two pins are wired in them, just like this one. So I'm just not using that second set, but this allows me to use any of the cables that I have, plug them in, and it works. The next, I have my three outputs here. So I have my left-right output. Now these are the two outputs that I would take to a ZLX each. So these are my two main, like my mains, I guess you would say. A lot of people say my tops are my mains. These two just XLR right there, right up to the main, and I'm done. The third one over here is labeled S. This is my auxiliary subwoofer output. So inside this rack, there's two outputs for the sub. There's a left and right output for the sub. Those are summed as mono in the processor, because that's the way I have it set. So the left-right signal coming in is combined together, and then both of those signals, the combination of both of those signals, the sum, is sent to the subwoofer amp inside here, which is what is output to these two NL4s. And of course these both have exactly the same signal, because the signal is actually split off of the summed output of the processor. One half of that, the left side, I'll say the left side of the processor sub output, which is exactly the same as the right. Left side gets run down through a double splitter, not a double splitter, but like a single splitter cable to both the left and right of that sub amp. So those are both those outputs here. And then the other output on the processor, since I'm using a splitter cable on the one side, goes to here. So the same signal that my sub amp inside this rack gets is right here. So say I roll into a venue and I am borrowing one of Alex's ETX18SP subs, which is a powered sub. I can hook that up right here, and it gets the same signal that my sub amp in this box would get that I would use for my LSs. I might have to tweak the crossover a little bit, but for the most part, I can just plug a powered sub right into here, and I'm done. I don't have to worry about it. If I want to use an auxiliary sub and this, I can do that as well, because it's all wired up that way. And then the far right is a standard PowerCon power input. So I just hook power to this, everything in the rack gets powered up. On the bottom here is a 120 volt power distribution unit. Now this isn't a filter, this isn't anything special, this is essentially a rack mountable power strip. It does have surge suppression, but that's it. It doesn't have any other filtering or anything like that. When you plug it in, it's got both a voltmeter and an ammeter. So anything that I plug into here, I can see exactly how much current I'm pulling from anything that I plug into here. And I can also see the voltage of the venue that I plug into as well. So if I plug this in and I see like 106 volts or something like that, hey, the voltage is not right in that venue. I probably shouldn't hook and run anything off of that, because that's not right. But, you know, it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 standard outputs down here. So if I'm in a venue and I want to, you know, I'm set up here at a venue, I can hook up a power from here to both of my ZLXs and then signal to both of my ZLXs. I only have to plug one thing into the wall to power everything. Like I said, I have a current meter down here, so I can see exactly how much I'm pulling off of the ZLXs, and I can see how much I'm pulling off of any other accessories, like my mixer and my decks and my computer and stuff like that if I'm running that. I can get a good idea. So I roll this, I take this rack in, I set it down, I plug it into the wall, and then I have 8 outlets right here to power all of my stuff. Like, I don't recommend like running like 4 ZLXs off this and a bunch of other crap and lighting and stuff like that. But if I'm running 2 ZLXs, my Denon decks, and then maybe 2 moving heads or 2 lights or something like that, or 4 lights, something like that, something small, this is perfect for it. I can easily power LED lights off this thing, no problem. I think the last time I was running like 4 or 6 LED bars and my Denon decks and 2 ZLXs, and I think I pulled maybe 7 amps, maybe 6 amps, something like that. Not much current at all. Those things don't actually pull a lot. The ZLXs are pretty efficient. So anyway, this is my portable rack that I use for most of my events. I try to not get into a position where I use exactly the same every time. I try to make things a little bit different. The kids are playing with the doorbell, sorry. But other than that, you know, I try to keep it modular enough, but at the same time, I still have everything that I need right here. One rack, I don't have multiple, I don't have to roll a rack in, I don't have to try to figure out what cords go where, I don't have to reach my hand back into this thing to get to the inputs on the drive rack and stuff like that. Everything's right here on the back. It costs a little bit of money to build these things. I mean, it's not expensive, but it takes time. I soldered all the connectors and stuff myself. It takes time, takes effort, but it saves me a lot of time at my events, which is important. You know, if I have a small wedding reception, I can walk in, set this thing down, hook my subs to it, hook power to it, hook my mains up, hook these 2 to my deck, power everything else off this power strip there. I'm done. I don't have to worry about finding other power strips and things like that. I bought long IEC cords so that I can plug my ZLXs in here if I want, and I don't have to worry about running the extension cords to everything and stuff. So just an option. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm gonna try to record as many vlogs as I can here coming up. I'm moving, so I'm not gonna have a ton of time, but as soon as I get moved into my new house, I'll definitely make some more. Again, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't have time to record a bunch of vlogs lately, so I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna try to record more, but if you have any comments, please leave them below. Thank you so much. If you're not subscribed and you made it this far, you probably should consider subscribing. This is probably like a 30-minute video at this point, so thank you. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.